everyone, it's Beth from xxxx here. Welcome back to another tutorial. So, excuse the voice, it's just come back. I lost it for 4 days, much to my husband's delight, I must say. So usually I film a video, have loads of days to edit it and then put it on a Wednesday. Well, today is Wednesday and I'm actually shooting the video today, so it's the first day you can actually hear me talk. So I'm keeping it kind of basic today, but still really pretty. Saw a style by, I think it was Liza's Braids. Really pretty braided bun style, and I thought it would be cute for kids, but I'm going to kind of do the kids version and then turn it into a more bridal adult style for you. So I'm using my head again today. I'll put the link in where you can have a look at this head. Don't forget to use xxxx15 for your 15% off code. And I prep the hair by just detangling with our xxxx detangler spray. This has been going a few years now, the detangler spray. I'll put the link in for that as well. And then I just did a really rough curl to the hair. So let's get started. Okay, so to start this style, guys, the bun is going to sit dead centre and I want it kind of high, not too high, but definitely not a low bun. So sort of the crown area. So you need to make sure that you start this style in the centre of the head. Now, normally you kind of be stood directly behind, but I'm kind of stood to the side so you can see. So I'm just hoping that I am smack bang in the middle. Okay, so this is where we're going to start the bun and this is where we're going to start the braid. So we're just going to be doing a little French braid to start with a slight difference, but I'll show you what it is. It's pretty basic though, guys. If you do struggle with the French braid, I will put in the tutorial for you. Okay, so I'm going to start my little braid here. So I'm just going to pick up a small section of hair. Might just come down a little bit there. And as with any braid, normal braid, we're going to break it into 3. I'm going to place my fingers this way, guys, so you can see the braid a little bit better. It's not my natural way of braiding, but I'll give it my best shot for you. So, normal French braid, guys, so pass over the middle. Pass over the middle. I'm going to pass one more time, like that. And we're ready to add in hair to this middle section here. So I'll just move that one. So I'm just going to grab a small section of hair, add it into that one there, and come across on the other side. Now on this side, guys, I don't want you to add any hair, okay? You're only adding in from the right hand side. So I've just passed that across and that's it. Let's go back to the right hand side now, so pass it across and I'm just adding in another little section of hair. You see I'm always smoothing my sections down, using my thumb to keep the tension of the braids. Not adding hair on this left hand side, so we'll go back to the right again. Silly nails keep getting caught, guys. I love them but hate them as well because I'm not used to them. So as you can see, I'm just sort of adding hair in a sort of almost circular motion like that. And we're trying to work this little braid around in a circle, so coming this way. So you'll see my hands start to change direction, okay? And that's what's going to turn your braid around. So can you see I'm starting to come whoop this way, like that. Taking my next section. So we're completely avoiding that left hand side and we're coming around. Now, I'm going to do one more stitch. Okay, so next what I want you to do before we sort of move on is just pick up these edges here. Whoop, she says with these nails, and just start to tease that out a little bit. We are going to do a bit at the end, but if you can just make a start now of just teasing those edges out, it'll all make sense in a bit, I promise. So we're going to now bring this braid back up here, okay? So just going to have to change my hand hold a little bit there, guys. But it's exactly the same process. So I'm not adding in on this side. I'm going to bring this braid back across over here. So don't worry about this line being completely perfect, as long as it's like a generalised curve coming around. And we're going to bring this braid back around here. And again guys, I am just going to try and kind of tease out as I go, as well as at the end. So just let your hands relax with this style. You haven't got to be too kind of like rigid with your hands and panicking. Just keep adding that hair in. Most important thing is the positioning. So you've always got to think, so my body is obviously on this side now, and in a minute I'm going to bring my body on the other side because I'm bringing the braid back around again. So don't worry if at this point it all looks a little bit messy. There isn't a lot of structure to it yet. Don't panic about that. It does, I promise, in the end, come right. So guys, I do apologise. I think I've literally held the hair 3 different ways in this video, but it's just because I'm trying to stay out of your way as I'm showing it. I don't want to be kind of like in your eye line. But however you find it easier, just think French braid, but just taking from the right. That's all you've got to think about. So as you can see now guys, I've got just a little bit of hair left. So what I'm going to do is make this my last pass. Try and leave yourself enough hair where it's not like really thin little bits at the end. So I've tried to leave myself enough width at the end so it doesn't look like little tiny thin pieces going in. So this is just exactly the same, but it's like your last pass around now. So as you're doing your last pass around guys, obviously this is the layer that everyone's going to see, so just take your time with your fingers or a brush to just make sure that that hair's going in nicely and there's no bumps or lumps or bits that you've left out. Just coming over the top of the head guys, again make sure that these top sections, especially at the front, look right, because obviously that's what everyone's going to see. So I'm just taking my time to make sure they're all being swept back correctly. So my last little strand's coming in now guys, so just make sure that your braid's sitting here and not over here somewhere, because then later on when I pin that bit, look what'll happen. So I'll just go back and tighten that up. So can you see I want the braid to sit here and not too high up? And it is much easier guys to do some of this pulling out as you go, because otherwise if you try and do it all at the end, it's just going to start looking a little bit messy. So even as I come around here now, this braid, we're just going to bring that braid down and again just tease out this side. And we're just going to pop a little elastic in there. So I'm just going to take this tail around the top and then just kind of feed it into the braid anywhere you can so you can't see it. So I'm just kind of pulling that braid through, and we'll pin that in a bit. So next what you're going to do is just give that style a bit more structure. I feel like if you let the person go out with hair like this, it moves a bit. So all you're going to do is kind of position that bun where you're happy. Take a grip and just kind of feed it. I'm almost like weaving it through. And it's just going to give that bun a bit of structure before we start teasing it out. Okay guys, we're going to add some real volume to this bun now, so completely optional. You haven't got to do it, you can leave it as is. I'm going to see if I can get it to go a bit bigger. I'm using a spray that I got from America. I love it because it's a really fine spray, which is what you want when you're still kind of like messing with the hair. No idea how to say this. Maybe you Americans will know. Aquage? No idea. But I love it. But any spray that you like to use is fine. So you'll just be grabbing the individual bits and just teasing. And if they're a bit like sort of floppy, that's when you'll use your spray and just add a little bit of structure to the hair. So I want it to go wider, but I also want it to come out from the head a little bit more. And I'm also going to be doing a tiny bit of teasing out of these sweeping sections as well, guys. So just take your time. So as you can see, I've just created a tiny bit of definition in my strands, nothing too defined because I don't want it to be too sort of gluey and structured. And then you've got this beautiful like sort of spiral bun with lots of detail in. So that's the style finish, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a pretty basic technique, but I think it looks really nice when it's done. I'd love to see your recreations. Please, you can tag me on Instagram. That's probably the best place for me to see them. And I will see you next week for another tutorial, hopefully with my voice back to normal.